Okay, we're working on the 1997 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme SL. And I did take this engine mount out, and it's going to go back on the engine in the front. Okay, this axle isn't out. Is not installed yet. But it's going to go in right there. Got the transmission in. I got it sitting on blocks right there, but I got this axle started. It's up and in the tranny on that end and into the bearing on this end. And I got that started right there. Those two started. And I think I'm going to leave it like that until I slide back the transmission a little bit. It looks like that's what I need to do. That's where that engine mount goes, down in there. See, I'll be able to put it on top of on that front of the engine right there, and then just drop it in, and then it's just bolt in the 2 bolts from the bottom instead of, the book says to take out the 3 in the front, but that's way more difficult than doing it the way I'm gonna do it. All right. So yes, I put it in with the engine hoist. And I picked it right there with that bolt on the front side. And then I set it in. I got it all cleaned up pretty nice. Some power steering fluid came out when I had to turn the wheel back and forth to get this into place, and the 4 bolts in the back started. In fact, I'll have to do that to finish with that. I still got to go back in and torque them. And that's got to be tightened, the very center bolt too, but it's started. So yeah. There you go. Got a lot of stuff to hook up still, but so there you have it. I dropped it in through the top with the engine hoist, and that turned out to be the simplest way because I would have had to undo a lot of stuff to get that frame out. Some people refer to it as a subframe because it doesn't go to the entire length of the car, but it's the frame. And I measured up exactly how far from the floor the top of the blocks should be before I put them in, and that was about 18 inches actually. That's just tall enough to get you. Make sure your transmission don't land on that tubing right there for the... Right now I'm not sure if that's transmission or power steering. But anyway, it looks like they got it set up so they kind of made a weave of tubing. And it goes underneath that. Right there. It's kind of hard to see. Get the light again. Anyway, there's kind of a weave of tubing that goes underneath that. Oh, it looks like it's for the power steering. Alright, I guess that clears that up. Transmission lines go in the front underneath over here, but we're not going to lay it on the floor right now. but you'd have to look up about right there, and you'll see them. But anyway, that's your height. If you want to do it this way, 18 inches will get you just the right height. So you can just set the transmission on it. You can bolt in both your, or put your axles in from both sides. Then the engine's going to come in, and then the engine's going to bolt to it too. Then I'll pull the blocks out. In fact, I'm probably going to put these 2 bolts in right here into the engine block itself before I pull those blocks out. I want that weight to be supported by something different, and that's another reason I'm going to go ahead and put that engine mount, this one right here, onto the front of the engine. And then it's just these 2 bolts, that one and that one. That's upside down right now. That will go right down and into there. Those 2 holes. That'll make it a lot simpler. Yes, that needs to go to the left a little bit. You can see it isn't quite lining up with my axle, but that's not a big deal. I can easily do that. I might have been able to go ahead and bolt the engine to it and use this method, but it would have made it a lot more difficult. Yeah, I don't know, it would have made things more difficult because I have to reach stuff on the top. I got to get that, and of course that wouldn't have been too hard, but getting the stuff on that over there with the engine in, that would have been difficult. It was fairly easy to put that, your shift line comes in over the top here. It's actually right there right now. That's for the shift line. It's the cable, shift cable. That, and you know, the 2 plug-ins are right there. That'll go up and over the top. This turned out to be the simplest way, and for me to do it with an engine hoist. And I'm sure that a lot of you have engine hoists, and yes, I've dropped just the transmission through the bottom. In fact, this exact same transmission on a similar GM vehicle, a Buick. And that isn't bad. You can leave the engine in there and do your transmission out and back in that way. So, sun's going down and my day started at 7 a.m. So, I think we're going to call it a day. Talk to you later. This is John Rudy at Rudy Racing.